Most people think darkness is just the absence of light, but when the power grid collapses and night falls without warning, darkness becomes something far more dangerous. It becomes a weapon against the unprepared. If you've never moved through total blackout conditions, you have no idea how disorienting, how vulnerable, and how deadly it can be. This isn't about camping trips or romantic candlelit dinners. This is about survival when every step could mean the difference between reaching safety and becoming another casualty no one will find until morning. If you're serious about preparedness, subscribe now, because what you're about to learn could save your life when the lights go out for good. When a blackout hits, whether from natural disaster, infrastructure failure, cyber attack, or grid collapse, the first thing that disappears isn't just electricity, it's your confidence. Studies show that humans lose up to 70% of their spatial awareness in complete darkness. Your brain, suddenly stripped of visual input, enters a state of sensory panic. Your balance falters, sounds amplify and distort. Every shadow becomes a threat, every noise a potential danger. In urban environments, where artificial light has conditioned generations to never experience true darkness, this disorientation can be catastrophic. People freeze, they make noise. They use light sources incorrectly and give away their position. They injure themselves on obstacles they would easily avoid in daylight. Within the first hour of a major blackout, emergency rooms, if they're still operating, see a spike in trauma cases from falls, cuts, and panic-related injuries. The first rule of moving in darkness is counterintuitive. Don't immediately reach for a flashlight. Every prepper has one, but most don't understand that uncontrolled light in a blackout scenario makes you a target. In a true emergency, when civil order breaks down, visible light attracts desperate people. It signals resources, safety, or vulnerability. Professional operators and military personnel know this instinctively. Light discipline is survival discipline. Instead of flooding your surroundings with a bright beam, your first response should be to stop, breathe, and let your eyes adapt. Human eyes can adjust to darkness in stages. Within 5 to 10 minutes, your rod cells, the photoreceptors responsible for night vision, begin activating. After 30 minutes in complete darkness, your eyes can become up to 20,000 times more sensitive to light than in daylight conditions. This natural night vision is your first and most renewable resource, but adaptation alone won't navigate you through a home, street, or building during a blackout. You need to understand movement techniques that keep you safe, quiet, and oriented. The shuffle step is fundamental. Slide your lead foot forward along the ground before transferring weight, using your foot as a probe to detect obstacles, holes, or changes in terrain. Never take full strides in darkness. Each step should be deliberate, controlled, weight distributed through your legs to maintain balance. Keep your knees slightly bent, center of gravity low. Extend one arm forward at chest height, fingers spread, moving it slowly side to side to detect obstacles before you walk into them. Your other hand can trail along a wall or use a walking stick to probe the ground ahead. This isn't fast, but speed in darkness gets you injured or killed. Walls become your navigation system. In any structure, walls lead somewhere, to doors, corners, rooms, exits. The wall-following technique, also called the right-hand rule, is simple but effective. Place your dominant hand against a wall and keep contact as you move. Follow that wall consistently. In most buildings, this will eventually lead you to an exit or a known reference point. Don't switch walls randomly, or you'll circle endlessly. Consistency is key. Feel for door frames, light switches, anything that provides spatial information. Count your steps between landmarks. Your brain will start building a mental map even without visual input. This technique works in homes, offices, warehouses, any enclosed space where walls exist. What about open areas where walls don't exist? Streets, yards, fields. Here, your other senses must compensate. Sound becomes your primary navigation tool. In darkness, acoustics change. You can hear your own footsteps echo differently on pavement versus grass, concrete versus gravel. Wind direction remains constant enough to provide orientation. Moving air against your face or the rustle of leaves can anchor you to a direction. Stop periodically and listen, not just for threats but for environmental cues. Flowing water, distant traffic if any remains, dogs barking, anything that provides directional information. Dead reckoning, the method used by navigators for centuries, becomes relevant again. Pick a direction, count your paces, estimate distance traveled, adjust course based on known landmarks you've memorized in daylight. Memorization is preparation. If you haven't walked your home, your neighborhood, your evacuation routes in daylight and memorized every detail, you're already behind. Count steps from your bedroom to your supply cache. Memorize how many paces from your front door to the street, from the street corner to the next intersection. Know where every curb, pothole, fence, and obstacle exists along your routes. Create mental maps with specific measurements. Professional soldiers rehearse movements in darkness repeatedly until muscle memory takes over. You should do the same. Walk your routes at dusk, then in deeper darkness, training your brain to move confidently without relying on vision. This isn't paranoia. This is practical preparation that becomes automatic when crisis strikes. Your choice of footwear matters more in darkness than most people realize. Shoes with flexible soles provide better ground feedback, letting you feel changes in terrain through your feet. Rigid boots can be protective but reduce your tactile connection to the surface beneath you. Whatever you choose, they must be broken in, comfortable for extended movement, and provide ankle support for uneven ground you can't see. Laces should be double knotted. Tripping over your own laces in a blackout is the kind of preventable mistake that ends badly. Silence also depends on footwear. Hard soles on pavement announce your presence. Softer materials reduce noise but may sacrifice durability. Balance protection with stealth based on your environment and threat assessment. Now let's address light sources because eventually you'll need them. The key is control and purpose. Red light preserves night vision far better than white light because rod cells in your eyes are less sensitive to red wavelengths. Military and aviation personnel use red lights for this exact reason. You can illuminate your immediate task without destroying your natural night vision or broadcasting your position. A red lens filter over a small flashlight or purpose-built red LED headlamps give you functional light without the drawbacks. When you must use white light, use it sparingly, briefly, and shield it. Cup your hand over the lens, point it down at the ground rather than outward. Use it for seconds, not minutes. The longer your light is visible, the more information you give to anyone watching. Improvised lighting has dangers most people ignore. Candles seem harmless, but they're open flames in situations where you might be moving through unfamiliar spaces, possibly with spilled flammable liquids from damaged containers or leaking gas lines. House fires during blackouts are common because people resort to candles without proper safety measures. If you use candles, secure them in stable, non-flammable containers, never leave them unattended, and keep them away from curtains, papers, anything that can ignite. Chemical light sticks are safer, but they're single-use, and their glow can be visible through windows, advertising your presence. Battery-powered LED lights are superior, longer-lasting, controllable, reusable. But batteries die, and in an extended blackout, you need backup plans for your backup plans. Movement techniques change when you're not alone. If you're moving with family or a group in darkness, maintaining contact becomes critical. Hold hands, link arms, or use a rope tethered between people with knots at intervals so each person holds a section. The lead person navigates using the techniques we've discussed. The rest follow. Communication must be clear and quiet. Establish simple verbal signals before you move. Stop means everyone freezes immediately. Step up or step down warns of elevation changes. No unnecessary talk. Sound carries in darkness and silence, and loose conversation reveals your numbers, direction, and intentions to anyone listening. Discipline saves lives. Children and elderly family members present special challenges. Children may panic in total darkness, and their fear can compromise the entire group. Preparation means exposing them to controlled darkness before an emergency. Practice drills where the family moves through the house together with lights off, making it familiar rather than terrifying. Elderly individuals may have reduced mobility, balance issues, or medical needs that make darkness exponentially more dangerous. Know their limitations. Plan for them. Assign someone to guide them directly. Don't assume everyone can move at the same pace or adapt at the same speed. Navigation tools that don't require power become invaluable. A compass works in darkness as well as daylight, though reading it requires a small light source. Glow-in-the-dark or tritium-illuminated compass models solve this problem. Maps marked with tactile reference points, raised lines, textured symbols, can be read by touch. GPS devices are useless once their batteries die or if satellites become unavailable, so don't become dependent on technology that fails when you need it most. Learning to navigate by stars is old knowledge that works when everything else fails, though cloud cover or urban light pollution even during partial blackouts can obscure celestial navigation. The North Star, Polaris, remains fixed in the northern sky and provides reliable directional orientation if visible. Environmental hazards multiply in darkness. Broken glass, debris from collapsed structures, spilled chemicals, downed power lines still carrying current, open manholes where covers have been removed or displaced. Every step forward could encounter something lethal. This is why the shuffle step and probing hand or stick are non-negotiable techniques. In urban blackouts, people have fallen into construction sites, tumbled down stairs they didn't see, walked into traffic because signals were dark and drivers were panicking. Awareness and caution must override any urgency to move quickly. Injury in a blackout, when hospitals may be overwhelmed or inaccessible, can turn a survivable situation into a fatal one. Water crossings in darkness present unique danger. Streams, drainage ditches, even flooded streets are nearly invisible in blackout conditions. The sound of moving water is your warning. Stop before you reach it. Probe carefully to find the edge. Assess depth and current before attempting to cross. Flash floods during storms that coincide with power failures have drowned people who couldn't see the water rising until it was too late. Never assume you know the terrain just because you've traveled it before. Disaster conditions change everything. Roads wash out, bridges collapse, familiar paths become death traps. Let's talk about threats beyond the environment. Other people. In a sustained blackout, especially one lasting days or weeks, social order degrades rapidly. Desperate people do desperate things, and darkness emboldens predators while leaving victims vulnerable. Moving at night during a blackout means accepting that you're operating in a heightened threat environment. Stealth becomes survival. Avoid main roads and predictable routes where others will congregate or where criminals will set up ambush points. Use alternate paths, alleyways if they're safer than open streets. Natural terrain if you're outside urban areas. Move during hours when others are less likely to be active, if you have that choice. Stay quiet, stay low, stay aware. Situational awareness in darkness requires constant sensory scanning. Listen for footsteps, voices, vehicle engines if any are operating. Smell can detect smoke from fires, fuel leaks, even the scent of other people before you see or hear them. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Retreat, change routes, find cover. Don't convince yourself to ignore warning signs just to maintain forward progress. Survival often means knowing when not to move, when to hide and wait rather than pushing through dangerous areas. Carrying supplies while moving in darkness demands careful load management. A backpack or bag that shifts your center of gravity or makes noise with every step becomes a liability. Pack critical items in ways that distribute weight evenly. Secure loose objects that might rattle. Practice moving with your loaded gear in darkness before you need to do it under stress. Essential items for night movement include your controlled light source, water, basic first aid supplies in case of injury, a means of self-defense if legal and trained to use, a way to signal for help if needed, and any critical medications. Don't overload yourself. Mobility and balance matter more than carrying extra comfort items. Signaling in darkness is a double-edged tool. If you're trying to attract rescue or communicate with trusted individuals, light signals, whistles, or other methods can work. But those same signals reveal your position to everyone, not just friendlies. In military operations, signal mirrors are sometimes used with reflected moonlight or starlight for covert communication. Precise, directional, harder to detect than broadcast methods. Know when to signal and when to stay hidden. Context determines the right choice. Shelter in place versus movement is a decision you must make based on conditions. Sometimes the safest choice during a blackout is to stay put, secure your location, and wait for restoration or daylight. Moving in darkness carries inherent risks that might outweigh the benefits of reaching a destination. Assess the threat. Is staying more dangerous than going? Do you have immediate medical needs requiring evacuation? Is your current location compromised by fire, flood, structural damage, or hostile actors? If staying is viable, fortify your position, establish a watch if you're in a group, conserve resources, and prepare to move only if conditions force you to. Never move just because you're anxious or impatient. Emotion-driven decisions in darkness kill people. Training your household now, before blackout conditions ever occur, is the difference between competent response and chaotic panic. Run drills where you cut power to your home and practice movement, communication, and problem-solving in total darkness. Time how long it takes to gather supplies, exit the building, navigate to a predetermined rally point. Identify weaknesses in your plans, equipment failures, knowledge gaps. Adjust and repeat. Muscle memory and rehearsed procedures become automatic responses when crisis eliminates your ability to think clearly. This isn't about living in fear. It's about building confidence through preparation so that when darkness falls and the grid stays dark, you're already steps ahead of everyone who hoped it would never happen. Physical fitness underlies everything. Moving in darkness requires balance, strength, flexibility, and endurance. If you can't walk a mile in daylight without exhaustion, you won't successfully navigate in blackout conditions under stress. Cardiovascular conditioning, core strength for balance, leg strength for controlled movement on uneven terrain, and flexibility to recover from stumbles without injury. These aren't optional for serious preppers. You don't need to be an athlete, but you need to be functional and capable. Start training now, progressively increase difficulty, and include movement in low-light conditions as part of your routine. Psychological resilience matters as much as physical capability. Darkness triggers primal fears, and blackout conditions amplify stress, isolation, and uncertainty. People trained to operate in darkness, military special operations, search and rescue teams, experienced cavers, all emphasize the mental challenge of staying calm when you can't see, when every sense feels unreliable, when your imagination turns every sound into a threat. Controlled breathing, mental rehearsal of your plans, focusing on immediate tasks rather than overwhelming scenarios. These techniques keep panic from taking control. Practice exposure to darkness now so it's familiar rather than terrifying when it's not voluntary. Communication networks collapse during blackouts. Cell towers have backup power, but it's limited. After hours or days, your phone becomes a useless brick unless you have independent charging capability, and even then, if the network is down, it won't matter. Two-way radios, CB radios, ham radios if you're licensed and equipped. These provide local communication when infrastructure fails. But in darkness, you're navigating by yourself with whatever preparation you've already completed. Don't assume help is coming. Don't count on outside rescue. Self-reliance and small group interdependence are your foundation. What about vehicles during blackouts? Traffic signals go dark, streetlights disappear, and if the blackout is from an EMP or severe solar event, modern vehicles with electronic systems may be disabled entirely. Older mechanical vehicles, properly maintained, become valuable assets. But driving in blackout conditions, even if your vehicle works, means navigating roads filled with disabled cars, panicked drivers, no signals, and pedestrians who can't see you coming. Headlights make you visible from miles away, attracting attention you may not want. Driving slowly, using parking lights instead of headlights when possible. Having a navigator to watch for obstacles. These reduce risk but don't eliminate it. Sometimes walking is safer than driving, even if it's slower. Long-term blackout scenarios, the kind lasting weeks or months from catastrophic infrastructure damage, introduce compounding factors. Food supplies dwindle, water systems fail without power to run pumps, medical needs go unmet, social cohesion breaks down into survival of the fittest dynamics. Moving in darkness becomes part of a broader survival strategy. Scavenging, relocation to safer areas, evading hostile groups, reaching caches or rally points. Every principle we've covered amplifies in importance. Navigation skills, light discipline, physical fitness, mental toughness, preparation and training. They're not isolated skills, but interwoven capabilities that define whether you survive or become another forgotten casualty. Consider now what happens when the blackout isn't temporary, when the grid doesn't come back online in days or weeks or at all, when you realize that the darkness is the new normal and society isn't recovering in your lifetime. Your movement in darkness becomes habitual, a daily reality instead of an emergency response. Skills become lifestyle. Preparedness becomes culture, and those who practiced, who trained, who took it seriously before the lights went out, they're the ones still standing when others have fallen. The truth is, most people won't prepare. They'll assume blackouts are temporary inconveniences, that government will restore order, that modern civilization is too resilient to collapse. History proves them wrong again and again. Grids fail. Systems break. Order dissolves faster than anyone predicts. And when you're standing in total darkness, no power for miles, no help coming, no light on the horizon, literal or figurative, the only thing between you and catastrophe is what you know and what you've practiced. Don't wait. Don't assume it won't happen. Don't convince yourself that you'll figure it out when the time comes, because you won't. Chaos doesn't grant learning curves. So here's what you do right now, tonight. Turn off every light in your home. No screens, no phones, no cheating. Sit in complete darkness for 10 minutes and just breathe. Feel what it's like when your primary sense vanishes. Then stand up and try to walk from your bedroom to your front door. Count the obstacles you hit, the disorientation you feel, the time it takes. That's your baseline. Now you know what you're working with. Now you train. Practice these techniques. Walk your routes. Build your muscle memory. Gather your supplies. Prepare your household, because when the blackout comes, not if, but when, you'll already be moving in the dark while others are still frozen in place, waiting for lights that will never turn back on. And if you want to go deeper, you'll find in the pinned comment some guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Check them out when you're ready. If this information matters to you, if you understand that survival isn't luck but preparation, then prove it. Subscribe now so you're ready for what's coming. Like this video to push it to others who need to hear it. Comment with your own experiences or questions, because we're building a community of people who refuse to be victims when the world goes dark. Share this with someone you care about, someone who isn't ready but needs to be. The difference between survivors and casualties is knowledge applied before crisis strikes. Don't just listen, act. The darkness is coming, and when it does, you'll either be ready or you'll be another voice screaming into the void, hoping someone prepared will save you. Choose now which one you'll be.